What's up, everybody? This is Russell Brunson. Welcome to Marketing Secrets. For the next 2 episodes, I've got some exciting things for you. As you know, we just got done with our viral video launch event, which turned out amazing. And our keynote speaker was Gary Vaynerchuk. And in his contract, he said we are not allowed to stream nor share his presentation. But then he did the presentation and he messaged me after and said that was probably one of the best presentations I've ever given. And I was like, sweet man, can I promote it on the podcast? And he was like, you know what? Go for it. So that is what's happening. So we actually have his presentation. Now, the first like 15-20 minutes of his presentation, he kind of just rambled for a little bit and didn't really have, I don't think he was trying to figure out what he wanted to talk about. And then he switched to Q&A for the next like hour and a half. And Gary's the king of Q&A, and it was really, really good. So what I'm gonna do is we pulled out the Q&A. And so I'm gonna do 2 45-minute episodes here for you. But for all of you my fans and followers, people who listen to me, you know that I keep my podcast nice and clean. I don't swear or curse or anything. Gary does a lot. So I had my brother go through and beep out all the bad words, so hopefully it'll still be PG rated for all of the kids at home, and that's kind of the game plan. So hopefully you enjoy this episode of the podcast. Appreciate you all, and have fun listening to Gary. So the big question is this: how are entrepreneurs like us, who didn't cheat and take on venture capital, who are spending money from our own pockets, how do we market in a way that lets us get our products and our services and the things that we believe in out to the world and yet still remain profitable? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Russell Brunson, and welcome to Marketing Secrets.
What's up? Gary Vaynerchuk, thanks for being here.
Thanks, brother.
My question is, I know you say that it's going to end all with robots killing everybody.
I hope so.
But until then,
yes.
What role do you think AI, artificial
Huge.
intelligence, and robots have and are going to have in the next 5 years in the marketing and digital marketing space?
Huge. Even in the 15 minutes that I've gotten a better taste of what these characters are up to, they're going to love it. Like, the math people are going to love it because machine learning and AI just do that we shouldn't be doing. Like, it's just efficiency. It's gonna have an enormous thing. Like, but the good news is, like, there's so much that we still can do. And so basically how I think about, ML and AI back at the pad is get me to third and half base and I'll take care of the rest. And whatever AI can do for that, cool. And whatever low priced employees can do, cool. But like, everybody is spending way too much money to get to third and half base. And then the magic is the last part. So that's what AI is going to mean for everybody here. There's a lot of dumb that people have assistants for or managers for. That's nonsense. Zero value that the biggest AI companies in the world are going to get their nut off on. Yeah. Hey.
Hey, it's really exciting to be here in this room with you and everyone here. This is awesome.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Experiences that help people save time are awesome. And I'm really interested in experiences that are time-bending and help people just lose time. And I'm interested in creating the most...
Like hardcore drugs? Or?
No. So here we go. The world's most connective music festival.
Okay.
All right? Where festival goers are connecting with each other like never before.
Yep.
And with the artists, and the artists with their fans.
Okay.
And so in 2021...
You're talking VR now?
I'm talking about the...
Mixed reality?
So 2021...
Go ahead.
Music festivals... connection, the best time of people's lives. What do you see happening in the context of music festivals that you're excited about and that you're excited about creating?
So if I dissect that right, couple things. One thing I'm super fascinated by that I would have never seen, and by the way, I never spend any time predicting, like voice, I'm not predicting, it's happening. Right? What I think I'm good at is like recognizing when it's practical and then going pot committed, right? Which means you'll lose money for a couple of years and then get it. You don't lose for 7 years and never get there. The thing that's been super fascinating to me that I would never thought, which is social media is making people do more in real life. Like, literally some dude is hiking right now just for the Instagram photo. Right? So what's been amazing about music festivals is because everybody here now is not only themselves, but they're the PR agent of themselves for what they're putting out. People are going to more concerts than ever because of that whole dynamic. I think what you're alluding to is kind of like what's going to happen in society, like in general, like mixed reality, things of that nature. It's going to be funny. Technology is making music, going to music grow, and then it's going to take it away. but I don't think it's as soon as 2021. But I think that right now, a lot of music festivals are failing because they all have the same acts, and it's just supply and demand. And so when you were first 4 or 5, 6 years ago, you win, and now there's 87 micro festivals, and big companies sign the same 13 artists. And so I think there's a huge white space for the next generation of that, like the people that the streets with, right? And then I think that ultimately it's gonna be really interesting in just in general what happens when we live in a mixed reality world. I think the big arbitrage, the only thing that's gonna break the internet is VR. But VR's quite a ways away. Like nobody here spends an hour on VR in a month in real life. So we're it takes time. Behavior takes time. But eventually when we're switching between completely virtual, like I don't even see you guys right now, my contact lenses have me in Afghanistan. Switch it off, I'm right here. Switch it off and it's AR and Santa Claus is sitting right there. You know, Santa, you know, that world, I think, is super interesting and is going to change all our businesses. Thanks, man. Cool. Yep. Hey, Sean.
Gary, you just came back from August, and you said, I'm bringing YouTube Fire, new shows are coming out.
Yep.
And you took the Ask Gary Vee show to Facebook only.
I did.
So what are your latest strategies and why for both YouTube and Facebook?
I think you have to make content that is native to the platform you put it out on. I've always thought about that. I wrote a book called Jab, Jab, Right Hook 5 years ago on this. I wasn't doing that. So now that Ask Gary Vee show is on Facebook Watch and the Daily V is on YouTube, when D-Rock is wherever, D-Rock? Hey, you know, now I could say, what's up, YouTube? Whereas I couldn't do that before, and those little nuances matter. And, you know, all the action is in those little edges. And so I broke them up mainly because of Facebook video. Now that there's Watch, I'm fascinated. Any of you watch a show yet on Facebook Watch? Just raise your hands, just curious. Higher. Right, so this intrigues me. Like everybody here has to watch one. Not because, like I don't watch I watched one, the Ball family, because I just want to see what they're doing. Like to me, this is the most interesting thing that I'm doing that the good market isn't. You've got to taste everything. Like if you want to win, and there's no way you're in Boise, Idaho if you don't want to win right now. No, I mean that. Like when I think about who's here, I'm like, these people are hungry. So like to me, 19 hands, which means maybe 31 because people get shy, to 2 weeks into Facebook Watch that haven't watched, that's it. That's where I play. That's my margin. So that's why I did it, because I wanted to make them native. I have 2 active shows. I needed to do something on Facebook. And because I watched Facebook, actually, I'll tell you, it's not fully announced yet, but we'll see how this goes. Because I watched Watch, and I watched it for 4 days in a row, looked, I understood what they were doing, so I sent them an email, I pitched them a show, and they bought it, right? So now I'll have kind of, anybody can put a show on Facebook, right? Like a page, a Watch page, which everybody should be doing here. I'll have my YouTube, show, and now I'm gonna have a produced by Facebook show that's gonna get big even more. Listen, man, I talk and like do it and hustle and all this. I do so much more than I talk, which is crazy because my mouth is always running, but I'm just doing. I'm doing because I'm tasting. I never think I'm fancy. So many people in here, and I know you, like so many people here make it a little bit and get fancy. Stop doing the that got them there. That's the minute you're dead. You got it.
How's it going, Gary? So
Hey, Marshall.
I have a question. There's a guy I follow online. You might have heard of him. His name's Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yes.
And he told me to push all in on whatever it is that you're good at. So
Yes.
I'm making this big push as Marshall Live. I'm going to everything live, like straight to ask me questions. I love that aspect of your brand. So the question is, if everything's moving to voice, is live streaming podcast going to end up being bigger than, say, iTunes or a recording that you can come back to?
So first of all, you said something interesting that we all do. If everything's moving to voice, nothing is everything. Like, we will always have the written word. You could have do you know how much virality there is through long form written Facebook and Instagram posts? Like if you sit in here and you can write long posts on Facebook and Instagram and watch what happens. We are humans. We've been around a long time, bro. Marshall, written word, audio, video is locked in. Got it? So it's not like you're gonna lose it. Like, if you're great at smoke signals, get the up there, communication doesn't change. The pillars of communication are set. Where we communicate changes, right? And then you have to be contextual, right? Some people are incredible at making a 6-second video. I keep looking at them because it's fun to see them. I haven't seen them in a while. Others aren't. Like, I can't put 2 sentences together in my life. I have 5 New York Times bestselling books because I have a ghostwriter. Because I didn't try to become a great writer when the blogging thing happened, because I bet on my strengths. And so I do believe that everybody here should bet on their strengths and surround themselves with their weaknesses. I actually think back to an earlier question. I think AI and machine learning is going to help a lot of us in here who are creative close the gap on a lot of our weaknesses, which is going to be really awesome. You got it. Yo. Yep.
So
Kevin.
It's Kevin, yeah. I think a lot of people in here, using ClickFunnels or not, have kind of come into a lot more money than maybe they've ever been used to making.
Okay.
And in one of your previous sentences, you said, yeah, you only care about money, and all of a sudden you're 47, but then you didn't finish your sentence. I was hoping to hear you elaborate on that.
Sure. I'm sure a lot of people here who, let's say, have come into money, it's not as great as advertised for a lot of people. Some people love it. They like watches and Lambos and houses, and that's rad. Like, mazel tov. Other people don't. And you start questioning what the right? Because when you've got nothing and you're on the come up and you've got numbers in your head, whether it's 1 million or 5 or 3 or whatever it is, it's empty when you get there for a lot of people. And so, I'm just trying to make sure people are being thoughtful. They're just, much like what I just said to Marshall, like, life is pretty simple. Like, people play on legacy, on family, on money. Like, there's just a couple pillars. I just think in our space right now, and I know a lot of you have heard me rant on this, I do think entrepreneurship has taken a turn towards club promotion. That's just dangerous. It's just dangerous for the people that are I don't give a It's dangerous because people don't realize they need to build a business, not a perception that they're good at business. I don't know, Because nobody's, when the market crashes, nobody's going to Vegas with you when you work at Bank of America. I'm just trying to get people to be more thoughtful. Sure. Hey, man.
How you doing?
I'm super well.
Awesome. So Russell and you were two of last year. I was selling websites, was getting really frustrated that I wasn't helping people, felt like they weren't growing their sales, but they had a really nice site. So you guys inspired me to start a podcast.
Awesome.
Didn't know exactly what for, but just...
You're like, it, those guys are doing it, I will too?
More along the lines of, I was listening to a podcast in the gym. Host asked the other guy, what would you tell your 20-year-old self? And the guy answered, I would divorce my wife earlier. I was super pissed off. I'm married with 2 young kids and wanted to have a podcast from a different perspective. And so a year later, thank God, 2 weeks ago, I got to publish my interview with Russell. I've had Dean Graziosi. And so my question is, number 1 is, how do you grow even further? And number 2 is, not just for me, but anybody starting or in progress, what should your priorities be?
So let's sit here. Both of those things I can't answer because you need to decide, first of all, you have to define growing for me. Is growing being a top 50 podcast? I mean, we all get into our micro games. And by the way, I think micro games are good. Little short goals, micro, it's kind of good. You scratch it, it's fun for a little bit. I think you got to have your macro point of view. Like if you're telling me the truth that you felt like the conversations were going in the wrong directions and you wanted to go a different place, well, the answer to your question is just do it every day until you're dead, right? That's my plan. My plan is, hopefully it gets me to this one little funny weird thing that I want to buy a football team. But other than that, my plan is to put out for free that is historically correct so that so I can continue to live the life I'm living, which is I made the money I wanted to make a long time ago. But getting 50, 60, 70 emails, 80 emails a day of people like, you helped me, like that's just like intoxicating. But that's what gets me off. And by the way, I'm not sure that I understand why that wouldn't be meaningful to somebody else. Like, so you just have to do what you have to do for yourself, right? Like that's how you grow, by consistency.
Awesome.
You grow you're a year in. You grow when you're 19 years into your podcast.
More specifically in terms of actual numbers and taking what you've done and now like specifically on the number aspect of it, what do you recommend in terms of taking your platform and kind of skyrocketing numbers?
Buy underpriced attention. Whether that's buying ads on Facebook and Snapchat right now because they're underpriced, if that's working with influencers because many are still underpriced, whether that's taking the high risk of trying to make a $10,000 to $50,000 version of what you just saw, their incredible video, because that one video can be your Dollar Shave Club of your brand. Saying yes to everything. Like if you want it, if you're hungry, you do what I did, which is 4 years ago when I didn't jump into podcasting right away. The first 2 years I just went on everyone's. And so I could have went to sleep at 11 p.m. or I could have went on Lewis House's podcast at 11 p.m. Like that was a decision. It's just about awareness. Like where are the eyeballs? And so just put your time and effort into that. Some of it's free, some of it costs money. Thanks. You got it.
Hey, Gary.
Hey, brother.
My first time seeing you. Your honesty is so beautiful, and it's just wonderful listening to you.
Appreciate it, bro.
As someone who's trying to build their brand and get a podcast and get more into Facebook and all these sort of things, Twitter and all this, what are kind of some tips you have for building a powerhouse team around you to help you accomplish all these things?
First, it has to be so stay here. First, it has to be practical. So some people in here can afford people, other people can't. So they either have to learn how to do it themselves by spending hours looking at YouTube videos on how to or read, or finding people. Like we're in an incredible era right now. There's so many kids, 14 to 21, that want to be creators and think it's cool to do it for free, So you just need to test and learn. Everybody's overthinking. Just do. I don't know, post right now. Literally right now, as soon as you sit down, go on whatever platform has the most, go on all of them and be like, I'm looking for a video and audio intern, and see what the happens. Again, I always tell people, watch what I do, not what I say. I know a lot of, there's a good amount of people I see here that follow me, randomly out of I fucking tweeted today, does anybody make customizable retail floor mats? I needed a retail floor mat. You do? Good. Do you do them for free in exchange for some awareness? I would ask and then try somebody and be the amount of people I've hired when it was early in something and I didn't know if they were good or bad, I just thought it was much smarter to just do it and then figure out if it was working, and then I'm like, they sucked. I'm just not scared to waste money or time, and everybody's petrified because you worry about what other people think about you. That's why, if you're curious. That's the answer. That's see ya. That's the answer. Your answer's so easy. How do you build a team? Hire some people, bro. I mean, right? But it's but you're but I don't understand. People are scared to get had because they don't get it. Okay, put in a load of time to learn the craft, or bring someone in and watch what they're doing carefully instead of outsourcing it and falling asleep because you're all passive income and I got a team doing and I'm stupid. Got it?
Thanks.
Yeah.
Hey, Gary.
Hey, Jay.
My name is Jay, and I run the Inner Changemaker podcast, and I want to ask a question that goes a little deeper with what you're saying in terms of sound and watching what you do.
Sure.
We've noticed that you've launched a couple other podcasts outside of Ask Gary V.
Within my experience, the brown paper bags and that.
Bags, kind of like the 365 daily. So
the 365 is an Alexa skill.
Right. Okay.
Briefing, excuse me. So I've been doing sub-branding in my podcast because I'm testing to see if there's traction, and I'll spin them out and create new pillars.
Okay, so I guess my real question is for content creators that started on like one platform. For example, I started an interview-based show, right?
Great.
Just kind of like you have a Q&A show.
Yes.
If you kind of have that urge to kind of branch out,
do it within the interview show because you have audience there.
Yeah.
Don't worry that you may lose a couple people. Like right now, as I'm sure everybody has seen for 2 strategic reasons, out of nowhere, I'm talking a lot more than I should be about wine, right? I'm doing it for a reason. There's no question that there's people unfollowing me because they're like, yo, bro, I came here to get pumped up because I have no juice. The are you trying to sell me actual juice, right? Like, so, but I don't give a because I'm playing a macro game. Like I don't want to lose people from it. I'm sad. I don't want to disrespect your attention and know what you came for, but I need to test something.
Right.
And this is what I have. And so I think it's better off for you to like try it because one, you may hit pay dirt. One thing a lot of people don't realize is your numbers look good, but they're disguising the fact that you've plateaued and you're tired. And so I think you try it within it. And you take the risk of a little decline for enormous upside. Because you can always go back.
Right.
Instead of starting a whole new thing that's going to take energy. Got it?
Got it.
Cool.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Hey, Gary.
I like your hat, bro.
Thank you. Appreciate that. My name is Prince. I run a company called Art of Visuals. We have over 1 million content creators in 122 countries. You said something earlier about everyone 14 to 22 wants to be a content creator. I absolutely agree with that and have tons of those people in my community. The problem is with there being so many content creators now, how do these content creators, how do they create a business? How do they make money when you have thousands of people doing it for free, et cetera?
Being better.
Cool.
Yeah, guys, it's supply and demand. And then once there's too much supply, you have to be the best.
Right.
And just move on to the next thing. Like, I bought all the Google AdWords of every wine term for 5 cents a click the day it started. That was good. Then everybody jumped on and they started becoming $2 and $3 and $4 words and it became different. Then I had to be better. Then I had to be more crafty. Then what I started doing is the day the Wine Spectator would come out with good scores, we would buy that exact wine, that exact vintage. That became our new arbitrage for a year or two before everybody caught up. When a market's mature, you've got to be better.
Do you think it's good enough just to be a content creator? Do you think these content creators need to also have products and other things that they're pushing as well?
Look, if you're Steven Spielberg, you probably can end up just being a content creator. But if you're like Sal, maybe you got to consider other revenue streams.
Right.
It's just very basic business. Supply and demand, Prince, right? 4 years ago, there are people that land grabbed. They were good and they were first. It's just real estate. If you were the people that bought Malibu beachfront property first, you won. Right, boys? You won. You made money. But there's a reason you were the first. It wasn't Malibu yet, Prince. And now people who buy Malibu beachfront properties, they're just better. So all those kids that they're going to aspire to be the next this, they've got a rude awakening. To be the next this, you've got to be 5 times better. It's evolution. When people debate these athletes versus these athletes would destroy every athlete from other generations. Because they work out 24/7 now. They have data now. It hurts my feelings too that my childhood kid, they would get destroyed. LeBron would step on people's heads in the 80s. People don't get it. It's just evolution.
Cool. Thanks, Gary.
You got it. Great hat.
Thanks, man. I don't really have ask for you. I've listened to it. I've watched your stuff a ton.
Thanks, Jared.
I just want to say thank you for giving me the permission to pursue my passion and now do what I love every day and spend time with my family and make things. I'd be remiss if I didn't say thank you because I don't know if I'll ever see you. If you ever want to play bubble hockey, I'll destroy you.
Dude.
And I know that you say that
are you filming this?
I know that
Where do you live? Well, first of all,
I live here. There's a spot right down the street I can take you to play.
Listen. Listen, that's going to happen now, I think.
I'm a winner in Boise, Idaho, Gary.
It's so crazy. You're funny. You're smart. You know me. You know that now I'm blacked out and want to destroy your face. I know. But you know what's more interesting though? Your Whalers hat is me up because I'm like, man, he's got a Hartford Whalers hat. This team hasn't been in the league for 20 years. He probably is awesome at bubble hockey. I'm gonna do something for real based on what you just said. I want you to come to VaynerMedia for a day. I'll pay for your flight and the hotel. And during that day, we'll play bubble hockey and we'll see what's up.
Hello, Gary. I first want to say thank you to both you and Russell. You two are kind of like the Jesus of marketing and branding. I come from a poor third world country, Dominican Republic, and if it wasn't for you two, I wouldn't be here. So I just want to say thank you. So my question right now is like, what are you doing in other languages? Because right now, like my main language is in Spanish, and I see like a blue ocean. Russell's always talking about blue ocean.
He's right.
And other languages, ridiculous, the blue ocean that there is, marketing, fitness, whatever, you name it. The ocean's blue. So I want to know, what are you doing? Because I'm going balls deep into Spanish.
So what I've been doing over the last 6 months, I've poured an ungodly amount of money into infrastructure to transcribe all my content into a ton of languages and paid distribution in them. I'm going to Singapore, which is my second trip to Asia in the last 3 months. I'm going to mainland China in January. I'm going to India in February. I'm spending an enormous amount of time, and I'll spend millions of dollars next year just on the transcription and distribution of the content that I'm natively making in America in the English language. So a solid amount.
Okay, I just want to say like influencer marketing in other languages, like it's cheap in English, in Spanish is pennies on the buck. So
it's super crazy. I mean, you know, again, because I just can't, because I miss them. I haven't seen, like, I remember when Jerome and I was like, Jerome, you need to go and figure out who these influencers are in Mexico, because they're like even in music right now, there's so many, like I'm spending a lot, maybe you guys are paying attention because I love hip hop, I'm spending more time with these artists. Like I keep telling them, you know, like you need to go down to South America. There's so many artists there that are really popping. You have the leverage because the brand of America, I mean, they're much bigger artists than you, but you're America. So you're automatically bigger than them. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree.
Well, thank you.
You got it. Good luck.
Gary, Caleb Maddox's dad, I want to thank you personally for your impact in his life. Between you and Russell Brunson, seriously, I mean, coming from a dad, there's no way I can repay you. Just
I appreciate it, man.
The character that you've taught him. So I thank you for that. I have a two-part question. One, you gave him some advice last time you were with him about patience,
Australia.
and I hear you talk about that a lot. And I want to know, as a dad, you know, can you expound a little bit more on that? And then I'll wait till you answer that and have one more part about that.
Right. So, you know, it's super fun for some of us in this space. We're literally watching your son grow up. And I mean, I just saw him like, dude, you don't look 14 anymore. You know, like, you know, so and now he's hanging around with all these faces. So he's going to get into trouble, right? Like he's like, patience is important because, you know, he's got more swag now. His sneaker game is stronger. Like he's going into that time of his life where dumb decisions are going to be made because he's making decisions to make short-term cash because he's trying to arbitrage it for other things in his life. Like, why do I preach patience? Because it's the only thing that keeps people away from being straight assholes.
That's good.
Thanks.
I like it. So what did your dad do? You know, you talked about
I didn't have my dad in my life. Like, I mean, luckily still have my dad in my life. I didn't know my dad until I started working in a liquor store. Like, my dad left before I woke up and came home after I slept. Like, as a matter of fact, it's probably funny how I feel about you guys. It's fun to watch, you know, because I didn't have that, you know. But what my dad did do for me, ironically, is because I have that kind of salesmanship and charisma, I was completely full of Like, I would be, everything I make fun of, subtly, I would be if it wasn't for my dad. Because at 14, 15, I went to that liquor store, and you would walk into what it was called Shoppers Discount Liquors back there. I was 14 years old. I looked 9. You'd walk in and be like, do you have this product? And I'd be like, yeah, that we have, because I was already full sales kid. I'm like, we have that product, but I knew we made more money on this one. I was like, but this one's better. I had it. It was phenomenal. I'm 14. People were like, you had it? I'm like, yeah, it's my dad's store. I taste it. I mean, I don't think talk about making it up. I don't think I said a real thing once. And so my dad took me and he taught me that. My dad thinks embellishing is straight lying, and he suffocated me over a 3-year period that really changed the course of my life. And I think a lot of my success comes from I have all the skill sets of that character, but between being, old country and really my dad really not allowing me to be that guy. So that's what he did for me. And I think that's what as a dad, you need to just keep watching him evolve. And when he goes into territories that you think are historically incorrect, not new ideas and doing new no, tried and true human dynamics that win and lose, that's how you try to guide it.
Yeah, one more if you don't mind. I'm sure a lot of these people probably have kids as well. So like your dad was a powerful businessman, and you had a lot of ideas and passion as a young age. What did he do to not, how did you guys balance that? Was that decision of him making you stop sell baseball cards to come work in the liquor store, was that the right decision? Would you do that for your kids? I'm only asking out of curiosity, because when I hear that, I'm just very curious about it.
It's a tricky one, man. First of all, we were an insular family. We were an immigrant family. We didn't know there was no internet. We didn't know anything. We literally just thought when you turn 14, you go work at the store. We were merchants. Right? People like that. That cliche story. Just what it was. It was my 14th birthday. It was time. My D's and F's in school weren't helping me with any compelling reason that I could get out of it. So, as far as how we did it, we fought I fought for every inch I had. And then I got lucky. What happened was, when I came from college, my dad had saved up a lot of money through these years and started building a dream house for him and my mom. And he took that year off. And he was just not around. And that year I took the business from $3 to $10 million in sales. And that was the end of the debate.
Awesome. Thank you, man.
Right over here, Gary.
Thanks, brother. Hi.
Hi. My name is Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
I'm really enjoying your speech, so thank
you.
I was wondering, in retrospect, you've built a brand around yourself and your name.
Yes.
Is that what you would recommend looking forward, or rather more of a brand around a brand?
I think you have to do both if you're going to build it around yourself, because what you're alluding to is you can get pigeonholed and you live and die by the person. I think a lot of people forget with me, I built Wine Library first. Gary V came later. Mm-hmm. So it's not like I went the Caleb route per se. I didn't come up the game as me. And so I know how to build, I'm serious, it's a little bit up now. I don't think I could pull it off, but I kind of want to, actually, you just inspired me, Sarah. I'm literally going to build a $25 million business in the next 3 years that nobody knows is mine, just to remind everybody for myself, because I'm weird like that and I need it, that I build businesses. Now, let me promise everybody in this room one thing. Fame is the #1 arbitrage in our society. Fame is not Snapchat ads, not being the first result on Google. Fame, full brand awareness is the #1 arbitrage. So I've built my brand as a biz dev machine.
Sure. Well, I'm glad I could inspire you. And let me know if you need a goalie on your bubble hockey. I think I could.
You got it. I might. He's got a Whalers hat. I'm scared. Awesome.
Hi, Gary.
Hey, Rach. You have a name tag.
Oh, I got so excited. Okay, I'm Rachel. Wow, that was cool for a second, and then it wasn't. So I'm the mom of 2 young daughters. They've got a 3rd on the way.
Congrats.
And it's awesome. Being a parent is obviously quite challenging as an entrepreneur. You talk a lot about what you were taught through entrepreneurship, through your dad's mistakes and successes, and you've had a lot of success as an entrepreneur. So you have 2 kids, right?
I do.
What are the 3 main things that you hope that they get out of life, and how are you going to instill those 3 principles into them?
The biggest reason I'm obsessed with entrepreneurship is it's the clearest thing and most obvious thing to me that allows you to do the following, which is do what you want to do today. Right? Waking up and being able to do whatever the you want to do is incredible. So the only thing that I want for my kids, like from that standpoint, is the ability to do what they want to do every day. Now, what scares me about that is they're probably going to have that no matter what, because they're going to inherit extreme wealth. So much so that I've really been having feelings. I used to make fun of Warren Buffett and Bill Gates in my head of like, you're going to donate 99% of your money until, it's funny, you talk until you live, right? Now I'm like, I don't want to give these kids that. Like, because rich kids have a huge disadvantage, because when I wanted Sega Genesis in 1989, my mom's like, cool, go get it, right? Like when I wanted to go to a Knicks game, I had to sell baseball cards and sit in the, like blue top row. Carmelo's coming over to my Hamptons house to play with Xander. Like, it's up. So I don't know what, but here are the things I give a. Number one, more than anything, and I will kill them, murder, go to jail, they have to be kind. Kindness is the most important. Number two, if I ever see them even inkling, even an innuendo, even a subtle little joke of imposing my and my wife's wealth on somebody else because they think they're part of that, I'll break their neck. And then number three, I will not raise them in the political correct environment we live in now. They know there is no such thing as fourth place trophies or participation prizes. So, now, if they want to be nonprofit, look, they're going to look at Daddy's Mountain and they're going to be like, that. Or they may do what I do. My dad's things seem big. Mine's going to be a hell of a lot bigger, but like other people have made it bigger than me and kids have done this. They're going to look at that and they're going to say, that, I'm going the other way. I'm building schools in Afghanistan. Or they're going to be like, it, I'm going to climb that mountain. I'm going to stick it to Big Mouth. I don't care. I don't need my kids to be entrepreneurs. I just need them to be as lucky as my mom. I got D's and F's. Every immigrant got good grades in the 80s. There's a couple of people a little older here. There was no entrepreneurship. School. Good school. That was it. My mom spit in the faces of all those parents that made fun of my D's and F's and gave me air cover to be me, and it really worked out. Not only for me, but the world became it, right? If my kids want to paint in tomato sauce, I will back them to the earth's end, as long as that's really why they're doing it, not because they're doing something to like run away from something of that nature. So just blind support as long as they're kind.
And the last thing I wanted to say is I'm going to buy the Minnesota Vikings. So I'll see you in the Owners Club.
No. Super Bowl. Jets, Vikings, 2047. I'll see you there.
I love this. Thank you.
Hey, Dan. I didn't see you there. What's up, Bran?
So my question.
Hey, Dan.
My question is about time.
Time.
So you're an angel investor in 100 companies. You have books and an 800-person agency and a family, and it's unreal to watch how much content you're putting out. How do you choose between the thousands of startup pitches you're getting and which interview to do or which speaking event to do? There's just so much.
100% blind belief in my intuition. Because Dan, you know this, and you and Brandon, everyone's hustling, right? Like, eventually you lose, right? Like, eventually you don't have enough time to do all the opportunity, so you're crippled by opportunity. You just have to go that route. Otherwise, you're just going to spend all your time thinking about the process of making the best decision, and you're going to waste being able to do 4 things, which would have included the 2 things you've been debating for the last day. So, just the belief in my intuition, and then lots of making fun of yourself. This one's a perfect example. Talk about time. My son has a birthday now because he has an August birthday. I didn't realize it was like this Saturday, and I think it actually came after we booked this. But like all the money from this talk is going into I was originally going to go to Seattle. Now I have to take a private plane not to miss the flight. Like, I just it up, and the whole day I'm just complaining. I'm like, I'm a fucking idiot. So like, you're not always going to make it right. Like, you're always going to like play micro macro. But I think everybody's saying no. Everybody's saying no to because they think they're being thoughtful or they're smart. Like, you know how many people are saying no that aren't even fancy enough to say yes yet? So I just say yes, man, a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hey.
Hello.
Hello.
Great to meet you.
Great to meet you too,
I
bro.
have a two-part name, Frank J.
Love it. How are you, Frank J?
Very good. Thank you, brother. And I want to appreciate you and your dedication, your consistency, and your communication. We own a company called International Tribe Design, where we bring a style of communication which is very simple, but yet rare in this society, which is honesty and authenticity. And I feel like you embody this. And I feel like a lot of us entrepreneurs, well, at least for me, it was like, shall I present myself strategically or authentically?
Yeah.
And what I want to ask you is the first part of the question, what do you think sells more or influence more people? Authentic honesty or strategic marketing, neurolinguistic programming, communication?
I think in the short term, it's a real battle. I think either could win. I think in the 30-year macro, the radical, candor, authentic way always wins.
And what do you think?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the thing that f***s with people is a lot of people can win on strategic, you're being very politically correct, like a lot of people can win on bullshit, play it out for 4 years, get out of the game with their chips and win. Not a lot of people can though. But then once you know of one of those examples, it sounds exciting because it's a load easier.
And what do you think the future is for collaboration versus competition? So what we're all about is collaboration. Let's bring us all together. I think we can all do great things as a team.
I think both will work, right? Like competition matters, right? Like I want to destroy Whaler Hat. I want to kill. I want to kill Vikings girl. Like, you know, like competition matters, right? Like I'm not gonna like zenning this all out, but I'll tell you, like in real life, Droga 5. Let's just put it even in black and white. Droga 5, David Droga, phenomenal businessman, has an incredible agency. He's gonna get his. Let me tell you one thing that a lot of you are making mistakes because you're saying behind people's backs. You can't stop winners from winning. Winners win. So something I don't remember when it became obvious to me, but it's unbelievable. If I see a winner, I'm like, she's a winner. It's binary. Even if she's taking David Droga, winning in my world alongside VaynerMedia, right? I'm pumped. I'm happy for him because if you're also a winner, you're gonna always eat. Winners win. And a lot of people see somebody who's a winner and they're not there yet, or they feel like they're taking away from them and they're talking. And really all that's doing is exposing where you're at. Like it's unbelievable. When, you know, I hang out with a lot of people, you know, like people start yapping a little, I'm like, winners win, right? And so unless you're doing something really not noble or things of that nature, winners win. And so I think that I collaborate with other winners who take from me. Complex and, you know, Vice, and these are they're gonna win.
Yeah.
You're not gonna stop a winner, and so keep that in mind. I think that's something that does hold back this competitive, driven, hungry demo more than you might realize. Envy is stupid. It's just not practical. I just don't spend any time. I'm like, why? I don't know.
Awesome. Appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
Hey, Rob.
Gary, great to be here with you, man. Seriously, it's been about 3 years since you came across my Facebook feed. You were talking to some millennial kid and you just owned him, and you just had me hooked from that moment. But a couple things. So you talked about. By the way,
I apologize. I'm really anti the downplay of like millennial kids. Like, and I don't think that's what you're doing, but I just figured I'd put it on film. I'm 42. There was plenty of lazy losers, entitled when I was 22 too. Like this notion that millennials are first and foremost dramatically better human beings than any other generation. It's actually not even close. And you can't be mad at them. The market, this has nothing to do with millennials and over-parenting. This has to do with economics. The last 9 years have been phenomenal. We haven't had a crash. How many people here are under 29? Raise your hand. You've never tasted the game when it was hard. You've never been punched directly in the mouth yet. You don't wake up like I did in April 2000 and the market collapsed and every invoice and every order is over. You don't know what it feels like when the corporations that want to give you $10,000 for a selfie don't spend money anymore. It gets a little harder to be an influencer when there's no cash in the system. So I'm not mad at millennials. I'm mad at people's not understanding of why, they're awesome human beings because they're far more well-rounded. And they just had it good, and that's not their fault. We could have had that. I got into the world in New Jersey, 2000, got on, 9/11, got on, 2007, got on. So I've tasted that. So just keep that in mind. And by the way, the reason I told that story is please keep in mind that the economy has been phenomenal for the last 9 years. Like, a lot of the good is coming for you because of what's happening at a macro level. You're just average. I'm being serious. And I'm not saying that to razz. I'm saying that to make you reflect so that you can step up your game so that when the ravage comes, you don't die. So good, you got a little zing that you're average, but now you can actually stay alive and not go work at go back to business school. Sorry, bro.
Didn't know that was going to take you down that course, but so you talk about how companies are kind of behind the 8 ball on the whole social media, Facebook marketing. It's a good value right now. Are you starting to see that trend diminish? And when do you see that being not a value, Facebook?
As soon as math and art combine to not be valuable, like on television. Meanwhile, Super Bowl's the best ad. Anybody here who's got 20 million thrown around, run a Super Bowl ad this year. The problem is there's 7. It's only 7 for the ad, which is phenomenal, but the network makes you buy some other That's where it gets up. But Super Bowl is an incredible value. I don't know. I'm stunned that these big companies that I work with still question its ROI and want to run commercials and billboards. It's so fun to watch them all go out of business over the next 20 years. They deserve it. I can't wait. Seriously.
Last thing is you mentioned political correctness in your kids, which is awesome. And I think that's what everyone loves about you is you just say what's on your mind. And I think we can all take a page out of that book of just being sheer honest. With this crazy climate of, the whole, the Google guy that got, fired from there,
yes.
The whole ESPN thing, like,
yeah.
how do you see this political correctness and what do you do to mitigate that in your company?
So it's a really good question, Rob, and it's a really tough one. Couple things. Number one, I said something the other day that finally articulated how I feel about all of it, which is I said to a friend, I'm like, so there's only one place in my life where I'm not logical or practical. American football, right? Like, against all data, I think that, the Patriots are cheaters and Bill Belichick's a terrible guy. And even though Tom Brady's clearly, and I've literally spent money on investigative journalism, he's the nicest human being ever, I still say things like, yeah, he left his pregnant wife for Giselle, he's a piece of I will do anything blindly. I have chemical, even talking right now, the chemicals in my body are different. I feel it. I hate them so much. I really want Bill Belichick to die. It's funny. I wonder if people think I'm going for, I want it. So cool. We've established that, right? I'm clearly irrational, over-emotional, not logical, and just the worst version of myself in that one narrow place. There are people who are fans of me, who've DM'd me, or have tweeted that I'm a bad, I yell at children, at games, I'm not joking. You know how people get beer muscles? You know that term? You drink and you want to fight? I have sports muscles. I go to a game and even though everybody would probably be able to beat me up, I want to fight you because it feels better than feeling the pain of your team beating mine, right? A week ago, I realized, holy that's how blindly everybody is now about politics. You're either red or blue, and you deploy no logic, no rationale. You are blindly emotional. You have no idea what you're talking about, and that's it. We're about to turn every issue into how the is climate a political, what are we doing here? So I have a huge office in New York and LA. 84% of my employees are liberals. 84, right? And so I have liberal points of view all day long. The thought of hating anybody or disliking another human being for any reason other than maybe being a patriot is insane to me. Insane to me. Insane to me. But I have clearly, Republican point, like an 8th place trophy is why China is going to shit on us with such a big dump that we'll never be able to breathe again. How I handle it is by one by one. One by one. It's very hard. You cannot handle this at a macro right now because our society's on tilt. That's how I do it. Thanks, man.
Want more marketing secrets? If so, then go get your copies of my 2 best-selling books. Book number 1 is called Expert Secrets, and you can get a free copy at expertsecrets.com. And book number 2 is called .com Secrets, and you can get your free copy at .comsecrets.com. Inside these 2 books, you'll find my top 35 secrets that we've used to become the fastest growing non-VC-backed SaaS startup company in the world.